Matt, I mean, it's a great day to be a sports fan. Can't wait to talk about the NFL schedule release. But before that, we got to talk about the draft here.
Wow, the draft has been less than a month, but I remember we were talking about the draft last episode that we did, and it's come to an end. And I think both our teams did really well in the draft.
Let's start with that. The New England Patriots had a good draft. I mean, first round, they got Will Campbell to protect Drake May. And then you also talk about they added to their running game and getting Travion Henderson. I think those are the two picks that the Patriots needed to nail. Travion Henderson, I think, is a guy that I really am excited about when it comes to moving the change and the chains and setting up a good ground attack. I think Mike Vrabel got his Derrick Henry.
I thought that the Travion Henderson pick was interesting because I mentioned before, all fair, you have Ramondre Stevenson still in your backfield. So I don't know what the plan is going to be for Ramondre moving forward this season. However, saying that, I think Travion Henderson, if you watched him at Ohio State, is a home run running back. He's a guy that can make a big play for your running game and a big play for your offense. And I think that's what the Patriots kind of need. And I like to protect the Will Campbell pick because you need to protect your young QB, and that's what Mike Vrabel wants to do.
Yeah, Mike Vrabel wants to do that with the Will Campbell pick, but I think those are the two picks I'm very happy with the Patriots. And I know you're very excited about your picks because you finally got your quarterback of the future in Jackson Dart, who's making an early impression in rookie minicamp. And maybe that's going to be a sign of things to come that he could beat Russell Wilson for the starting job. But my Madden League, it's going to be different. Jackson Dart's going to be the starting quarterback then. And then Cam Scottaboo, that is going to be that's kind of the steal of the draft for the New York Giants.
First off, I was very stoked about the Giants draft. You mentioned Jackson Dart. That was a pick that I was really happy about long term. But then you get Abdul Carter with a third overall pick, a guy that can help stabilize your pass rush. So you got Abdul Carter, Dexter Lawrence, and Kayvon Thibodeau as your front four, if you count Brian Burns. So that's your front four. I like that pick a lot. Jackson Dart, I mentioned. You mentioned Cam Scottaboo. I was stoked, like beyond excited about that pick because you and I watched some highlights in those bowl games that Cam Scottaboo played in for Arizona State, and this guy is a tough son of a gun. He can run, he can throw, he can catch the ball, and he just does not go down easily. And we mentioned Tyrone Tracy being the starting running back right now. I would not be surprised if we see Cam Scottaboo challenge Tyrone Tracy for the starting running back job. But overall, the Giants had a fantastic draft.
Now it's up to Brian Dable to execute that plan.
Yes, I think this is definitely a make or break year for Dable. I thought Joe Shane had a phenomenal draft. I know the quarterback class wasn't this good going in, but I think people are optimistic about Jackson Dart moving forward. They're optimistic about Cam Ward in Tennessee. Shador Sanders, we'll get into that in a little bit. That was a tumble beyond belief. But I think this quarterback class has potential if developed properly.
In my Madden League, this is the quarterbacks that I'm planning to start week one. It's Cam Ward, it's Jackson Dart, it's Jalen Milroe, and also Dylan Gabriel. And I don't think the Steelers are going to get Aaron Rodgers in real life, but it's looking like it's trending to me that I'm going to go with Will Howard in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, we don't know what's going on with Rodgers right now. I think he's been very incognito and very silent about what his plans are for the future. I think he should just retire, honestly, because if he's just going to play the waiting game with Pittsburgh and they draft a rookie QB, that should tell you everything you need to know.
So in my Madden League and in real life, I predict that I'm going to go with Will Howard to start for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah.
Because is that a total of 6 that I named out of those rookie quarterbacks?
1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be Cam Ward, Jackson Dart, Jalen Milroe, Tyler Stowe, Dylan Gabriel, and Will Howard.
6.
So I forgot Tyler Stowe from the Saints.
Yeah. That's a story in its own right. Now that Derek Carr is officially retired.
Now that he's retired, have you seen a lot of film on Tyler Stowe?
Um, I have not watched a lot of his footage at the University of Louisville, but from what I understand, from what people have told me, that Tyler Stowe is a really good gunslinger. He can throw the ball really well. Mobility is not as strong for him, but that comes with a lot of Louisville quarterbacks, except for Lamar Jackson.
I mean, you talk about Lamar Jackson being a mobile guy, but I think Tyler Stowe is probably gonna. I think the Saints are starting a new era with Tyler Stowe and Kellen Moore.
Yeah, I think that's what Kellen Moore wanted. I think after Derek Carr retired, I think Kellen Moore's like, okay, I got my own guy. Let's see what I can do with him.
I mean, the biggest loser in the draft, I think, is the New York Jets. I didn't think they drafted a quarterback, but my boldest prediction is when we talk about the scheduler, my bold prediction on the Jets, we talked about it many times off air, that I'm predicting that the Jets are going to tank for Arch Manning.
It's possible. I mean, I wasn't really a big fan of the Justin Fields acquisition. I think they bolstered up their offensive line. I think it's all going to depend on the play of Justin Fields. And to be honest with you, now that Jordan Travis retired, their Florida State QB that was only in his second year, they really didn't get a veteran quarterback to help him out or on the bench. So if Justin Fields struggles, I think that's going to be telling. But I like the proposition that you mentioned. Arch Manning in the next year's quarterback class is going to be solid.
It is. Like, we talked about who's going to be the worst team in the league. I don't think it's going to be the Cleveland Browns. I have a feeling that the New York Jets are going to get the number one pick.
I see. Here's the thing: the Jets are a decent choice. To me, I think it's the Raiders. I think that Geno Smith is not going to pan out, and there's also a possibility that Pete Carroll might be too old to be coaching at this point in his life. I don't know why he came back into coaching to begin with. So I think the Raiders are taking the biggest gamble. Get my pun here. They're taking the biggest gamble.
Because Mark Davis likes big names.
Yeah, I feel like even though you got the big names, a lot of the time the big names don't pan out, especially at this stage in their careers.
You're absolutely right. You definitely need something like that, you know?
Uh-huh.
So, but anyways here now, let's talk about the Seahawks and Jalen Milroe. You view him as, I think he's going to start over Sam Darnold. Even though Sam Darnold signed for 3 years, I have a feeling that Jalen Milroe will pull off a Russell Wilson.
It's funny you mentioned that. I was just going to say the same thing that you just took the words right out of my mouth. Because I remember 2012, they signed Matt Flynn to a 3-year contract. And then that contract went to waste because Russell Wilson took the starting job away. I think that quarterback battle is going to be interesting come training camp. I think that Jalen Milroe is going to make a play to try to get the starting job because Sam Darnold did have a mostly good season last year. So I don't know. I think that that's going to be one of the quarterback battles to watch come training camp. And I think it's going to be close to see who wins that starting job.
You're right. I mean, I think we will see that. We'll see any of that, but overall, I think this draft was pretty good. But I think next year's quarterback class is solid. But now, onto the schedule release. We'll start with the Patriots schedule here. I mean, the New England Patriots start the season week 1 on September 7th against the Las Vegas Raiders. I mean, that's a good matchup. Pete Carroll versus Mike Vrabel to start the year will be a very good storyline. Then after that, following the Raiders, week 2 on the road in Miami with the Miami Dolphins. So I'm thinking Patriots get a win in Vegas, and then I think they lose in Miami.
Yeah, I'm looking at 1-1 so far.
And then the Pittsburgh Steelers. You're saying 2-1 or 2-1 for the Patriots?
I think 2-1 New England, 2-1.
And then you got Carolina in week 4 at Gillette Stadium. I think that's going to be a 3-1 start for the New England.
3-1, yep.
And then you're going to Buffalo because the Patriots have a very favorable schedule this year. I think playing in Buffalo on a Sunday night is going to be very, very tough and difficult. I think we lose that one.
3-2.
And then from Buffalo to New Orleans, I think we beat the Saints. I just don't think the Saints are ready.
4-2.
And then this is basically what everybody is looking forward to on the Patriots schedule. Mike Vrabel returning to Tennessee. And I think Mike Vrabel is going to want to blow out the Tennessee Titans.
I agree. So 5-2.
And then home with the Cleveland Browns. I think this game should be a win for the Patriots because I feel like the Vrabel effect is going to help New England.
6-2.
And then on to November 2nd, everybody thought we were going to play Atlanta in week 1, a rematch of Super Bowl 51. But speaking of the Falcons, I think it's the Michael Penix show now.
It's looking like it's the Michael Penix show already.
And do you think New England gets this win?
I think it's a close one, but yes. So I have them going 7-2.
I'm same with you here. I think this might be a year where I think New England might return to the playoffs.
So far, it's looking good.
And then they go on the road to Tampa.
That's a little bit of a tougher call. I think they'll probably lose that one.
I think they lose in a close one. I think that's going to be a very, very good game. Drake May versus Baker Mayfield. Speaking of the Bucs, I think this is Baker Mayfield's team now.
Oh yeah, big time.
Because everybody with Baker Mayfield was hated throughout his NFL career. But now that he's found a home in Tampa, I think that the Buccaneers are still in a good place with Baker.
Yeah, no, I think Baker has done a fantastic job since coming to Tampa Bay. I think that the Browns are the favorites to win the NFC South, but in the case of them facing New England, I think the Buccaneers win that one.
So you're looking at a 7-3 start for the Patriots.
Correct.
And then home with the Jets. I think that's an easy win for us.
8-3.
I would say Patriots put up a 50 burger on them.
Ooh.
I'm trying to be exaggerative just because they're just still young. They're inexperienced. They're going to be an inexperienced team. And Aaron Glenn is probably not going to get you results right away.
No, I wouldn't think so.
Although I do think Woody Johnson is going to like him.
I think Woody Johnson has to be patient with Aaron Glenn. I think that because Aaron Glenn's a former player, I think it helps his case. But at the same time, you also have to see that this Jets roster is not where it should be. So I think the Patriots win that one, 8-3.
And then they go to Cincinnati. So New England starts off 8-3, like you and I both said. They're in Cincy. Last year, you know what happened. The Bengals lost to the Patriots in week 1. I think Cincy's going to beat us. That's
I don't think Lightning will strike twice. I think Cincinnati's got this one. So 8-4.
And then going into December, the New England Patriots take on your team, the New York Giants, and we're home. We're the home team for that.
Yep.
And in this game, I think we win, but I think Jackson Dart will probably – I think Jackson Dart, I predicted both of my Madden League and in real life, he'll be the starting quarterback. I think the Giants still make it close, but I think New England gets the victory.
I think I agree with exactly what you said. I think that the Giants are not exactly where they need to be yet. I think Jackson Dart will be under center by then. But in the case of this game, these are two teams that are just trying to find their footing. And so far, at this point, New England's found their footing. I think the Patriots win this one. I think they go 9-4.
Well, then they have a bye week, and then they get to the meat of their schedule. They're going to have a tough stretch run here because it's going to determine their playoff fate here. I mean, week 14, they are back home with the Buffalo Bills. And last year, the Bills lost that game because Josh Allen just didn't play the second half. I think the Buffalo Bills sweep the Patriots in that one.
Yeah, looking like it. So 9-5.
And then they go to Baltimore. I feel like that and then go to Baltimore. That's going to be hard for the Patriots to play in Baltimore. I think that's a loss. That's going to be a 9-6 here. Week 17. They're the Jets again. And I think New England sweeps the New York Jets.
So 10-6.
And it leads up to this week 18 game where they could be playing for a playoff spot with a win and in scenario with the Miami Dolphins. But they're going to have to see where the Bengals and the Broncos or the Chargers play. I think the 5 and 6, who are guaranteed for 5 and 6, I think I'm going to say the Chargers will be 5 again, and then I think the Bengals will be 6.
So you're looking at potentially a 10-7 record because I think they lose to Miami in the regular season finale. Patriots have a good shot at getting the 7th seed in the AFC. I think
Yeah, I
that's very
think
possible.
they're gonna have to battle it out with the Denver Broncos, the Pittsburgh Steelers. But Pittsburgh might not make it.
So let me tell you something. I know we're not going to go over Pittsburgh's schedule. I think we're going to see history made here. I think Mike Tomlin has a losing season.
You say that every year. But
We say that every year.
We say that every year. But what happens is Mike Tomlin still got it.
I mean, listen, he's made lemons into lemonade the last few years, but you can't make lemons into lemonade with this. You don't have George Pickens. You got a rookie quarterback under center.
No, you got DK Metcalf.
Yeah, but George Pickens was a good complimentary receiver to have.
Like, the Steelers are now limited with weapons. Not only DK Metcalf's your number one option, you got Pat Freiermuth too. And then you got Jalen Warren that's going to start for Najee Harris.
Yeah, I know Najee Harris was originally the starting back for Pittsburgh. Him being gone, I actually like Jalen Warren a little bit better than Najee Harris. I think that Jalen Warren's a more explosive back. Najee was just a ground guy who can't catch a lot of passes. But still, this is a team that I'm very seriously concerned about in Pittsburgh.
Do you think they can? They still have the money to extend T.J. Watt?
Well, that should be priority number one now, shouldn't it? I mean, this is a guy who's like the heart and soul of their defense.
Oh yeah, the defense of the Steelers goes where T.J. Watt goes.
Absolutely.
Because I think T.J. Watt he's a guy that is just probably going to lead the league in sacks again.
Most likely.
Even though I've said to you many times, I'm not a defensive-minded person. I'm just trying to be real here with T.J. Watt.
Mm-hmm.
That he's probably going to be one of the league leaders in sacks.
Most likely.
Because there's a lot of good edge rushers out there that I like.
Oh, yeah. The pass rushing talent in the NFL is very extensive now. I feel like you can find a good pass rusher everywhere you look.
So you're looking at a 10-7 record for the New England Patriots?
Yes.
But I feel like that we're probably going to come up short in the playoffs just because Denver's probably going to want to get back in there. I think Cincinnati's going to get in for sure now that they changed defensive coordinators. Now that you extended Chase and Chase and T. Higgins.
I mean, Cincy should be really competitive this year. I don't know if they're going to win their division, but I know Cincinnati's going to want to get back to the playoffs.
They do. They would, because they got robbed of it last year.
They did.
Because defense was so bad. But the question is do you think Mina Kimes' favorite, Trey Hendrickson, will be suiting up in a Bengal uniform in week 1?
I mean, he's been holding out of practice over the last couple of weeks. He hasn't been suiting up at all. I think the Bengals know that defense was their biggest problem. They got a new defensive coordinator in Al Golden. I think that Trey Hendrickson needs to be on the field for Cincinnati's defense to be good, and I think they're going to do whatever it takes to bring him back.
Let's talk about your Giants now. They start the regular season in Washington to play the Commanders. And I know it. I think that's going to be a loss right away. I think that's going to be – I don't want to be too exaggerative here. I think the Giants only get 3 points. I'm being a little generous here just because the Giant defense, I don't think they can contain Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the Commanders are not a pushover anymore. They're not a pushover anymore.
No, I mean, the defense of the Giants, they're young, but they're not ready to get to guys like Jaden Daniels or Jalen Hurts or those quarterbacks.
Yeah, I think that the Giants pass rush on paper looks excellent, but I think they need time to gel.
Yeah, I mean, my thoughts on this Abdul Carter pick, I really like this pick for the New York Giants. This gives Kayvon Thibodeau another complimentary player on that side of the football.
And also Dexter Lawrence as well. Dexter Lawrence and Brian Burns are two of the unsung heroes on that
This is
defensive
a
line.
young defense for the Giants that I just don't expect results right away.
Yeah.
Just because I think that this defense is young. They're probably going to get exposed by teams like the Commanders and the Eagles. But if they play teams like the Cardinals or probably one of the worst teams in the AFC, I think they have a chance.
Mm-hmm.
But if you talk about this week 1 schedule, that's who the Giants play. I know that we talked about the Patriots playing the Raiders. And we even talked about this. The kickoff game, the Eagles and Cowboys, that is going to be boring.
Well, they put it on there because the rivalry between Philadelphia and Dallas is intense. But I think the Cowboys are going to make it a competitive game. I think that the Cowboys want to spoil the Eagles' championship celebration. And I think they have the capabilities to do that with George Pickens now.
I mean, they do, but I still have the Cowboys losing to them.
I think the Cowboys lose too, but ultimately I think it'll be competitive.
No, what I'm saying is that the reason why I think it's going to be a boring game is because in the second half, I'm probably going to see Jalen Hurts go off.
Well, that could be most likely the case. I think it could very well be that way. I think that even though the Eagles might have the work cut out from them in the beginning, I think that second half, maybe things will turn around. But like I said, Dallas doesn't go down easily anymore.
Well, I have a feeling the Cowboys will still lose the game, and I have a feeling that Stephen A. Smith is going to make a video of him laughing at that.
Right.
But it's also the head coaching debut of Brian Schottenheimer.
Yep.
You and I both said that he was going to be one and done after the season, but I think the Cowboys are still better than the Giants. But Brian Schottenheimer is probably going to be a puppet all year long.
Oh yeah. 100%. We're not going to hear much complaints coming out of his mouth because he's a guy that's going to roll over for Jerry Jones, and Jerry Jones is going to control every single situation.
And I don't think fans will like that.
Nope. I mean, listen, one thing I appreciate about Mike McCarthy, even though his time in Dallas didn't go so well, at least Mike McCarthy proved he had a backbone. At least he was able to say what was on his mind, and he didn't hold back. But Jerry Jones didn't like it. That's why they fired him.
But now with Schottenheimer, Jerry Jones is going to control him.
Pretty much.
And also, not only him that's making it, one of the rookie head coaches is making his head coaching debut in prime time. Another head coach is also making his head coaching debut on Monday Night Football, and that's Chicago Bears' Ben Johnson, the most hyped rookie head coach out of this rookie class of head coaches. And he's taking on the Minnesota Vikings, just like in my Madden League, but it's in opposite locations. The one in my Madden League starts at US Bank Stadium, and the one here that I have is at Soldier Field.
I mean, I want to see what Ben Johnson can do as a coach. I think that even though the Bears are not entirely set up to where they want to be for success yet, I want to see the improvements that Caleb Williams can make in the first game of this new regime. But it's also going to be a magnifying test glass for J.J. McCarthy, who will be making his first real start.
Oh, yeah. So Ben Johnson is going to have a lot of work cut out for him. That's a head coach. That's two rookie head coaches making their debuts in prime time. But in the regional time slot, another rookie head coach that we got to talk about who's also making his debut against the Carolina Panthers is Liam Cohen, the new head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars, who doesn't sound enthusiastic, by the way.
Duval.
So I'm kind of thinking, is Trevor Lawrence in for a comeback season?
I mean, Liam Cohen has to ignite what worked for Trevor Lawrence in year 2. In 2022, I don't know what Doug Peterson did, but whatever the system is that Doug Peterson was able to unleash Trevor Lawrence, that's what Liam Cohen needs to do. He did that in Tampa Bay with Baker Mayfield, and now I think he has to do the same here with Trevor Lawrence.
Well, Liam Cohen was an interesting hire, by the way.
Absolutely.
Personality, very mellow, the Duval thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like the Jacksonville Jaguars should go 1-0 against Carolina.
Well, that's going to be a tough game, I think, because the Panthers are also coming off a year where they finished the season strong, but you don't know if Bryce Young can carry the momentum from late last year into this year. And also, they got Tech McMillan, or
Oh,
Terry
that's a good
McMillan.
pickup for the Panthers.
That was a really good pickup.
And I think Dave Canales is. I think he's proven to be the right head coach for the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah, like there's a phrase saying it's not how you start, it's how you finish. And the Panthers finished really strong, but that gives Panther fans optimism for this year. I want to see what the Panthers can put together in the beginning of the year because if you can string together 4 or 5 wins in the first 7 games, I think the Panthers have a legitimate chance to win the division.
Kellen Moore makes his head coaching debut against the Arizona Cardinals. Those are two former Eagle coaches going at it.
That is right.
Jonathan Gannon on the Cardinals, Kellen Moore on the Saints. I wonder who's going to win that one. Well,
I would be leaning towards Arizona just because the Saints are starting from scratch again.
oh yeah, John, that's the safe pick right there because Kyler Murray, I thought, showed improvement in his first full year back. And I still have a feeling that he's still the quarterback of the future for the Arizona Cardinals.
I mean, I want to see. I know he has a fantastic season in him, but I just want to see it through a full 17-game season.
Well, the Kansas City Chiefs are playing in Sao Paulo, Brazil against the LA Chargers. How good of a game will that be between Andy Reid and Jim Harbaugh in Brazil?
Well, we've known this for a while that every time the Chiefs and Chargers square off, it's always a shootout. It's always a classic. So in Sao Paulo, Brazil, this should be no different.
And then rookie quarterbacks that are starting week one. It looks the Titans Broncos looks like it's the debut of Cam Ward. I think that Cam Ward's going to come into this very nervous, but against another quarterback in Bo Nix that also had a fantastic rookie season.
I mean, Bo Nix showed a lot of flashes from last year, and I think he matured so quickly throughout the season. But Cam Ward has a lot of eyes on him. Tennessee's expecting a lot of promise this upcoming season, and I think that there's a lot that needs to be like Brian Callahan has a lot to prove as the head coach. He's got his own guy now, and I want to see what he can put together with Cam Ward.
Well, and then you talk about the Battle of Ohio. This might be Kevin Stefanski's last year in Cleveland right here.
Yeah.
So
very
even
much
if he,
so, very much so.
because I think he's under the scapegoat wire, Kevin Stefanski.
Well, he's definitely on the hot seat for sure. I think that Kevin Stefanski, this whole Deshaun Watson thing has just gone absolutely out of control. Now you got two rookie QBs in there in Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders. A lot of people are thinking that they might start Joe Flacco to begin the season just because they want to go the veteran route. And also Kenny Pickett's not going to really do anything for you. So Cleveland's not in a good position to begin.
My prediction in this Cleveland quarterback thing, they're going to cut Kenny Pickett. Like I said, I think in my mind, like I want to cut Deshaun Watson. I'm starting Dylan Gabriel over Joe Flacco. Shedeur Sanders, to me, was a questionable pick for them.
Yeah, and think of it this way. Shedeur Sanders almost didn't make it to round 5. He almost didn't. He almost didn't. He almost went undrafted. And also, I want to mention. I don't know if you heard about this. The Jeff Ulbrich son controversy, where Jeff Ulbrich's son was prank calling Shedeur Sanders and a couple other athletes, which I thought was really unprofessional and really immature. But Shedeur Sanders now has to prove himself.
Yeah, but I don't think he starts that game. I'm going to pick Dylan Gabriel to start against the Bengals.
Right.
Well, the Miami Dolphins, who did not make the playoffs last year, who did not have Tua for the last couple weeks of the season, go up against a Colts team that is facing pressure to start the year.
I mean, yeah, listen, the Colts, they got Anthony Richardson. Anthony Richardson's in his 3rd season. First year he missed because of injury. Second year he wanted to take a break and he lost the job partially. Now he's in his 3rd year, and it looks like Daniel Jones is going to try and challenge him for the starting job. I think if you're the Colts, you want to make sure that if you're Shane Steichen, that you get Anthony Richardson in playing shape, and that Anthony Richardson gives everything he has without holding back. Because this is a kid who has talent, but he needs to put it together.
He does have a lot of talent and a lot of potential. And then for the Dolphins, they were good last year, but what's holding them back for the playoffs is Tua. Tua's health.
Yeah. Yeah, Tua, the one word he needs to do, he needs to stay healthy. If he can't stay healthy, then that spells disaster. But I do credit the Miami Dolphins for doing one thing. They drafted Quinn Ewers late in the draft, which I think is a better insurance policy than what Tyler Huntley was able to give you.
Yeah, Quinn Ewers, I think, will give you a better insurance policy because Zach Wilson probably doesn't deserve to be a starting quarterback again.
No.
So the Miami Dolphins did a much better job this offseason addressing their backup quarterback needs.
Yeah, I think Miami, they did a good job drafting. I think they drafted really well defensively. I think offensively they did what they had to do for the given situation. But at the same time, again, you got to make sure your starting quarterback, your investment stays healthy, and Tua hasn't been able to do that.
Well, from one AFC East team to another, the New York Jets host the Pittsburgh Steelers at home. That, to me, is not an entertaining game.
Nope, not at all.
Probably not going to be an entertaining game to watch if you're either fan.
Not at all. Pittsburgh does not have a lot to be proud of. I mean, even if you get Aaron Rodgers, I don't think this is going to be much of a solace for you.
Oh yeah, it's not going to be. That's not going to do you any good. And if you're the Steelers, you're going to go with Will Howard, and I'm like, that to me is probably going to be a 13-10 win for Pittsburgh.
Yeah, like a disgusting game.
It's gonna be an ugly win for either team. Whoever wins this game, it's not a good win.
No. I mean, it gets you on the win column, but at the same time, you want to look good to start the season, and neither of these teams look like they're going to do that in week one.
I don't think that's a watchable game.
No.
Well, we got to talk about a watchable game coming up, but before that, the Tampa Bay Bucks play the Atlanta Falcons week one, and I think this is the first. It's time for the Michael Penix era.
Well, Michael Penix is officially the guy. You can take the wrapping paper off him, and now here he is. He's the new starting quarterback for the Falcons. I do think that the Buccaneers have a really, really good chance at winning the division once again. I mean, this is a team that's been flying high the last few years, and I think Carolina can make a push. Atlanta, though, could be sneaky.
Oh, yeah. If you put this young offense with Penix, Bijan, Drake London, Kyle Pitts, woo! That's a good offense right there on paper.
It could be a really good offense. I just want to see it executed flawlessly the way it should be.
But their defense is still a question mark, though.
That is true.
For the Atlanta Falcons. Their defense was bad last year. But with Raheem Morris there, that should change. But Jeff Ulbrich, now the defensive coordinator, I think Jeff Ulbrich's a good D coordinator.
Yes, Jeff Ulbrich's a good defensive coordinator. I think the main thing with him is that he cannot have any offensive involvement at all. You saw what happened when he was given the interim tag of head coach. I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. But Jeff Ulbrich's a good defensive mind, and I think that he's going to make sure that the defensive secondary and pass rush is what it needs to be for 17 games.
Well, we go from these games, but now we talk about the later games. I mean, the Detroit Lions play the Green Bay Packers for America's Game of the Week on CBS. I bet you Jim Nantz and Tony Romo are going to have that game at Lambeau Field. This is going to be such a fun way to start week one with two NFC North rivals. Dan Campbell versus Matt LaFleur, two really good head coaches in the NFC North. And Jordan Love, he is good. I think Jordan Love and Jared Goff are going to put on a show for us here.
I mean, if you watched both of the Lion Packer games last season, I could tell you right now, you were watching art in those two games. both the Lions and Packers, those two games they both played against each other, that was just pure fun offensive football. And I know it's again that entices you because you love offensive football, but to me, I think that the Lions proved that they could score points at will. Their defense suffered a lot of injuries last year. I think health is going to be a big thing for them.
I feel like the Lions, when they get Aiden Hutchinson back, that's going to really, really push the envelope on their defense.
Yeah, I think that's the ultimate boost
is unfortunate, but I have a good feeling that Dan Campbell still has everything in control.
Yes.
Because Dan Campbell is right now the best head coach in the NFL.
So, yep, absolutely.
So, The Detroit Lions are probably going to be one of the premier the Detroit Lions are still going to be very good this year. And I know you, on the other hand, always like to brag about these Detroit Lions and how good they are and how you always tell our friend Patrick Rush, like, look at the Lions, look at those Lions.
Oh, Patrick's actually really excited for his Lions this year. He's optimistic. I think last year in the playoffs, it stung to lose the Commanders in the NFC divisional round, but I think that the Lions have shaken it off. The only problem is they lost both their coordinators. How will these new coordinators come in to fill in the gap? We'll have to see how that works, but I still think this Lions offense is prolific.
Well, that's going to be a good one, but I tell you what Jim Nantz and Tony Romo are doing. They're going to be in L.A. to call the Rams and the Texans. That's going to be such a good game.
That should be really, really solid.
The grizzled vet, the kid in C.J. Stroud versus the grizzled vet and Matthew Stafford.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. I mean, rookie, youngster, old versus new, if you will. I think that Matthew Stafford, I mean, he's on his way out the door, but I think he's trying to get one more Lombardi trophy in his trophy case before he calls it a career. And C.J. Stroud, we've seen this Texans team play really well the last couple of seasons. I think you might want to think that this Texans team has a lot to offer this season.
They do. We got great news from Tank Dell. He's rehabbing well. And then you also think that now that the Rams don't have Cooper Kupp, I still think this Rams offense is still good. I mean, I like Puka.
I mean, listen, the Rams have a tough choice, have a tough thing now because they went from having 2 number 1 caliber receivers to just 1. But I think Puka Nakua's numbers are going to go up significantly now that Cooper Kupp is gone. The only problem is the Rams need to find a secondary receiver to take the pressure off of Puka Nacua because you don't want one guy being double teamed, triple teamed in the passing game and having other guys not show up. So the Rams need to find secondary playmakers that can complement Puka Nacua.
Well, and then I have a bold prediction in this Seahawks-Rams game. This is the Jalen Milroe debut. Against Brock Purdy and the 49ers. I mean, the 49ers last year, look at it this way. They had so many injuries last year, but I'm pretty optimistic that they're going to be a lot better than they were last year. Robert Saleh's back as the defensive coordinator. He is back where he belongs.
I mean, listen, I like this 49ers team, but it seems like every year it's a pattern. They go to the Super Bowl, they get hurt. They go to the Super Bowl, they get hurt. They do well, they get hurt. So I need to see this. I guess this is the year the Niners do well and win the NFC West and maybe go far in the playoffs again. But again, health is the number 1 priority for them. Brock Purdy needs to stay healthy. George Kittle needs to stay healthy. Their running backs need to stay healthy, including Christian McCaffrey. They cannot afford any major blows early in the season.
No, they can't. When they're healthy, this 49er team is fun. They are fun to watch when you got all these guys healthy.
Yeah, again, they have to make sure everyone's healthy and ready to play. If any guy, like when they lost Brandon Ayuk, it stunk because that was their number 1 guy. And other guys like Jawan Jennings had to step up, and Debo also got hurt, and then Christian McCaffrey and others got hurt in the backfield. So they really need to make sure that everyone's ready to play and that everyone's keeping themselves fresh and not getting injured.
Well, there's no more Debo Samuel. He's now a Washington Commander.
That's correct.
And as for the Seahawks, I said this is the Jalen Milroe show because I think Sam Darnold's probably going to lose his starting job because Jalen Milroe is probably going to impress a lot in training camp and all that.
Well, like I mentioned before, we got to see what happens in training camp. I mean, a lot of stories and developments can happen in training camp. And I think that, again, like Matt Flynn in 2012, he was supposed to be the starter with that 3-year contract, but then Russell Wilson just said, that's my job, and took it from him.
No, and then for the Seahawks, there's no DK Metcalf and no Tyler Lockett. I think now you build this offense around Jackson Smith-Njigba.
100%. And also, you got to remember, you got Cooper Kupp now as your secondary receiver.
That's going to be good for that, receiver room. He has that veteran voice in there for the Seattle Seahawks.
Yes. So I think having Jackson Smith and Jigba as well as Cooper Cup should be a good, 1-2 punch for your passing game. I want to also point out that Seattle's running game has been ineffective between Zach Charbonnet and Kenneth Walker. Neither of those guys have been able to stay on the field for long periods of time. So their running game needs to be consistent.
They do. When they're on, they're on.
Yeah.
But the Seahawks, to me, I just think that offensively they can be good, but I'm still concerned about their defense.
Yeah, their secondary and their linebacking core has been very suspect to say the least. And I think that they can improve in that department. They're far cry from their Legion of Boom days, that's for sure.
Well, Sunday Night Football is going to be a doozy. The Buffalo Bills hosting the Baltimore Ravens. I feel like Mark Andrews is going to want to have a revenge game in this one.
Well, that's a good way to put it because Mark Andrews dropped the critical 2-point conversion pass attempt in the divisional round against the Buffalo Bills in that snow. I think that Lamar wants to get off to a good start. I mean, you're talking about the top 2 MVP candidates from last season. This should be fun.
Oh, yeah, Lamar Jackson versus Josh Allen. That's going to be fun in Buffalo to start week 1.
And also, I want to mention, this is going to be the beginning of the end in Buffalo for their current stadium, Ralph Wilson Stadium. They're going to move to a new stadium in 2026, which is next season.
Yeah, that's right across the parking lot. That's right across the street.
Right?
But I feel like that the Bills got a great team. They got something going here. And I also think that Josh Allen is in for another MVP season.
I mean, now if Lamar Jackson has anything to say about it, think of it. That MVP race last year was so close between those two men that really either of them could have won it. But because Lamar was short by 4 first-place votes, Josh Allen got the MVP award.
I want to point out to you when I look at this Monday night schedule, we talked about the Bears-Vikings. That's going to be the Ben Johnson debut. I'm also like, why are the New York Giants being featured on there? I just don't. That does not make sense to me.
I mean, I can't tell you why we're scheduled on Sunday Night Football at home against the Chiefs. I really can't explain that, but I really can't explain why we're in prime time against the Patriots in Week 13. I really can't explain.
That's not a prime. That's not a game that everybody's gonna watch.
Listen, you can flex these games later in the year, and I think the Week 13 game is probably going to get flexed out. I would think
it is going to get flexed out. I totally agree with you. I feel like that's going to be a candidate that gets flexed out, and then I think we're going to replace it with a better game.
Yeah, but as far as like the Giants Chiefs in Week 3, that's still on.
Oh yeah, I feel like people want to see Patrick Mahomes play in New York. That's why.
That's probably the exact reason why.
No, I'm thinking like we said, New England's probably going to have a better record, but the Giants are still not going to be where they need to be.
Yeah, like no one wants to see a spanking on Monday Night Football. Nobody wants to see that.
No,
so.
I wouldn't want to see that. I mean, New England plays Buffalo Week 5, and I'm like, they just put that game in just because of Vrabel. That's why.
Pretty much. That's exactly why.
But I'm looking at this Monday night schedule. You got 3 doubleheaders here. I mean, the ESPN ABC cross doubleheader.
Mm-hmm.
No, you got a doubleheader. I read it wrong. I mean, the Texans and Buccaneers and the Chargers and Raiders have a doubleheader. It's not like 2 games at the same time here. I mean, I think if you look at it here, I think that the Week 2 matchup, I think I'm more interested in the Bucs and the Texans.
Yeah, that's a game that could really sneaky. That could be sneaky good.
The Raiders and Chargers, come on now.
Why?
Like, I think you just want to just see Pete Carroll versus Jim Harbaugh.
Oh, yeah, going back to their Pac-12 days.
Yeah, Pac-12, Seahawks, 49er days. Mm-hmm. I'm like, I understand that. I would watch that just because of that.
Like, that's probably the exact reason why they put that on there as prime time.
And then Week 4, Jets, Dolphins, come on. Why would anybody want to watch that game in prime time? You know, Tua and the Dolphins are going to steamroll them.
Yeah, I got no answer for that one.
It's New York for you.
Yep.
And then, this one I like. Bills, Falcons, or or Commanders and Bears. That to me is more interesting.
I know the exact reason why they why they did that, and the exact reason why they did that was because they wanted to make sure that after Jane Daniels' highlight reel moment last year against the Bears, that they replay it again and have.
Oh, the game where the Bears never recovered after that Hail Mary.
Nope, they never did.
Because it went up. It was Matt Eberflus that game was clueless about what he was doing.
Oh yeah, no clue what to do.
He was just like, I don't care.
No.
And I don't think he was the right coach for Caleb Williams.
Nope, not at all.
And then another doubleheader, 7 p.m. Eastern, 10 p.m. Eastern. Bucks Lions, that's a game I would watch.
That's a good one.
And then Texans Seahawks, that might be one-sided.
Yeah, it could be.
And then week 8, Jaden Daniels going up against Patrick Mahomes. That's a game I would want to watch. That would be something. Jaden versus Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
That is probably going to be a good one there. And then Eagles, Chargers, Jim Harbaugh versus Nick Sirianni. That will be fun in LA.
That's a good one as well.
And then we'll talk about Sunday Night Football in a minute, but the Thanksgiving games we want to pull up here. I knew that we were going to get a Chiefs-Cowboys game on Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm going to watch the first half of it, halftime show, but if it gets to the second half after you eat your turkey in that game, if the Cowboys are losing by like a lot of multiple touchdowns, take a nap.
That's it. That's some good advice.
That's not going to be an entertaining second half in that game. As Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce are going to light up that defense. Stephen A. Smith is probably going to feel so good about his Thanksgiving.
Right.
And then Packers Lions. That's a game I would want to watch.
Again, another good spot for another good rivalry matchup.
For Thanksgiving?
Yep.
And then you got another rivalry matchup here. Lamar Jackson versus Joe Burrow on Thanksgiving night. I like this. The game I would want to watch more on this Thanksgiving slate, Bengals Ravens. I would want to watch that more than Chiefs Cowboys.
I'll tell you what. Of those 3 Thanksgiving games that you just mentioned, 2 of them look really good. 1 of them looks bad.
Yeah, the Chiefs Cowboys game. Come on now.
Yeah.
Mahomes is. I would rather watch the first quarter, second quarter, halftime. But Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs are going to probably score touchdown, and it's going to get boring.
Yeah, and then Dallas would have to keep up, and I don't think they're going to keep up.
They're not going to keep up with Patrick Mahomes and this prolific offense that the Kansas City Chiefs have. Because the Dallas Cowboys are probably going to lose. They're going to make Stephen A. Smith happy.
Yep.
And he's going to probably do a toast with his Thanksgiving meal. But I'm advising people, after your turkey, and if you feel bored after that game, go ahead and take a nap during the second half. You already know Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce are going to eat turkey legs after the game.
Oh, boy.
Don't you agree with what I said about that game, Chiefs-Cowboys?
Yeah, you pretty much hit the nail on the head there.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Chiefs fans are going to watch the whole game without taking a nap because they want to see more of Patrick Mahomes.
Yep.
Patrick Mahomes, I think he likes playing in holiday games.
He does. We hardly see him play on holiday games. I mean, we've seen him play on Black Friday last year. But, again, nothing beats playing on Thanksgiving Day. Black Friday games just started a couple of years ago. So, I guess to play on Thanksgiving, which is a tradition in the NFL, I guess it's cool for him.
Well, we have to talk about that the Al Michaels, Kirk Herbstreit schedule now that we're on it. I mean, Commanders, Packers, Jordan Love versus Jaden Daniels. That's going to be fun on 9/11.
Should be fun.
And then you got Jets, Patriots. I have a feeling they'll flex that out.
Yep.
no one wants to see that in primetime. I mean, I want to watch that game because I'm a Patriots fan, but I don't think the whole world wants to see both teams not scoring.
No, I agree. I agree.
But the Black Friday game that we're talking about here is I'm trying to see what that Black Friday game is on this Prime Video. Do you have it, Matt?
I'll pull it up right now. So Black Friday.
Because I know that after Thanksgiving, you got the Cowboys playing the Lions after that.
So Black Friday, according to the NFL, is the Bears at the Eagles on Black Friday.
Ooh, I would want to see that. I think that's a good matchup.
That's a good matchup.
I mean, Caleb Williams versus Jalen Hurts. That's going to be fun.
Should be. I hope it lives up to the hype.
Yeah, there's some Thursday night games I don't really agree with, like Jets, Patriots. No one wants to see the Jets in prime time now.
Nobody.
Guys, I know Ryan, your cousin, is going to get infuriated with them all year long again.
Yeah, this is going to be a long year for
He's
New York
probably going to
football.
be mad. He's going to be angry at every time the Jets lose.
Yeah. Listen, I'm telling you right now, I think that it's going to be a hard year for New York football for both teams.
Oh, yeah. I could definitely agree with you on that. But for Christmas Day, we got some really good matchups here. First, we got the Dallas Cowboys visiting the Washington Commanders. I know the Commanders are going to want to not want to happen what happened last year with all the special teams blunders.
Oh, yeah, I remember that one.
Where the Cowboys should have lost and Stephen A. Smith called them lucky.
Yep, I remember that game.
So I think Washington will probably get revenge on them.
You should.
And then the Vikings and the Lions. That's going to be fun. It's going to be fun in the what you would call this, at US Bank Stadium, where it's going to be snowing outside. It's going to be nice and toasty inside.
I'll tell you what, this is a proving ground game for J.J. McCarthy because J.J. McCarthy, I got to look at the Vikings' first 2 games, but I think this is the guy that we're going to have to monitor all season long just because you had faith in him, I had faith in him, and he tore his Achilles early in preseason last year, which led to Sam Darnold getting the job. Now this is another chance for him to make a name for himself.
The Denver Broncos and the Kansas City Chiefs. Don't you think that's going to be a fun matchup on Christmas night?
It should be.
Because Bo Nix versus Patrick Mahomes, that's going to be fun.
It absolutely should be. I'm only wondering, will the Broncos actually be able to put up a fight against the Chiefs because the Chiefs are really good against division opponents, and I don't think the Broncos are there yet to beat the Chiefs.
No, I don't think they are, but they have the right head coach in Sean Payton.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then you're also looking at this Sunday night schedule. I mean, you got a good start to week 1, and then week 2, that might be enticing. Penix versus McCarthy in week 2.
And then week 3, they take a step backwards.
Oh, my gosh, yeah. No one wants to see the Giants. I'm going to be bored watching that game after the first half.
Mm-hmm.
And then week 4, Green Bay and Dallas. Here we go again.
One of the most classic rivalries in NFL history. But
the Green Bay Packers are on the winning end of this.
I think so too.
I feel like the best Sunday night game in this slot, I think you got to go with the Detroit Lions and the Kansas City Chiefs. Playing
what week
again.
is that?
Week 6.
Week 6. Okay.
That is going to be a good game. I'm telling you. You know how in 23 when we saw the Detroit Lions beat the Kansas City Chiefs on opening night?
Yeah, that was the biggest shocker to start the season.
That was the biggest upset that you'll ever see. But maybe I think Jared Goff likes playing against Patrick Mahomes.
He does. I mean, they've done it in the past.
And then you talk about Bengals and Dolphins. You got to hope Tua's healthy and Joe Burrow's healthy for that game.
Gotta hope your guys are healthy.
Just because people want to see Joe Burrow play against Tua Tagovailoa.
100%.
And then you talk about CJ Stroud versus Patrick Mahomes week 14. That's a game I would watch.
Mm-hmm.
Quite honestly, because that's gonna be a dandy.
Absolutely.
And then no one wants to see the Steelers now, but I think
Nope.
they see the Steelers because of whatchamacallit, Mike Tomlin.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Because Mike Tomlin is such a good coach, but there's some homecoming game. But anyways, let's talk some basketball for a little bit. I mean, what were your thoughts on this Jason Tatum injury, and knowing that the Boston Celtics season is on the
Well,
brink?
Well, first off, the Knicks actually did not close the deal today. They lost in Boston. But I am going to say, in regards to Jason Tatum injury, it is devastating to see how it all unfolded. He went down non-contact. He hurt his Achilles. He's going to be out for this season and possibly the season after that, which sucks for him because, Jason Tatum's a good player on the court, on and off the court. He's a great human being, and you hate to see it. But at the same time, he's going to come back stronger than ever. And his Achilles surgery was successful. So all I'm going to say is if you're the Knicks, you got to take the series. You got to put the series away on Friday night at the Garden. And if you can't, then that's a problem.
Well, Minnesota Timberwolves are up 38-32. So if the T-Wolves get this victory, it's on to the conference finals.
First off, let me just say this. I love what Anthony Edwards has been doing the last two postseasons. He has been electrifying, to say the least. He has been awesome. And I think that even though the Timberwolves might not be ready to make the NBA Finals just yet, I like what they're putting together.
I know. They got hot at the right time. Nobody thought that they would be this good. And with them beating the Lakers, this just tells me that the Timberwolves are just cooking.
No, they're an up and coming team, and like I said, they got one of the best playoff performers in the game right now, in Anthony Edwards. If it weren't for Shea Gilgeous-Alexander and Nikola Jokic, he's the best player in the NBA. Period.
Well, we got a game 6 tomorrow. OKC goes to Denver for a game 6. My prediction in this game, I'm going to say Denver forces a game 7. I want some drama. I want drama between Jokic and SGA. I want to see a game 7 in this one.
You know what? This series has been so good, you almost want to see a game 7.
It's been a great series between those two teams.
Yep.
So that's why I think this is going to go to a game 7.
I hope it does. I really hope it does.
And then the Knicks play the Celtics, game 6. Will the Knicks close it out, or will the Boston Celtics get this to a game 7?
First off, if the Boston Celtics win this series, that would be a miracle, given the fact that Jason Tatum is no longer on the team for the rest of the playoffs. And the Knicks really had a chance to put the series away. They were undefeated on the road this postseason, and they let that opportunity slip away. They had to put it away at the Garden. If the Celtics win this game, I'll be massively surprised.
And you're saying that because I don't think Boston's going to give up just yet.
No, they're not. They're not giving up without a fight.
Yeah, even without Tatum, I mean, with that win basically told me something. I mean, they still got depth.
Hey, listen, like I said, I respect their courage, but they have a lot of work to do.
Let's talk about that Pacers-Cavs series. The Pacers shockingly won that series 4-1. And I'm like, I thought this was Cleveland's year to go deep, but it just told me they're still young. They're not ready.
I'm just amazed at how bad Donovan Mitchell is in the playoffs.
He is awful. He chokes.
I don't understand why this happens to him every time. It happened in Utah.
He's good in the regular season, but now that he's in Cleveland, he's the same. It's the same thing with this guy.
Yeah, it happened in Utah, and now it's happening here. Great regular season stats, terrible postseason.
And now the Cavs had a great year. I know the Cavs have a very good team. I know we're going to expect to see them back on top next year.
I mean, I want to see them do well. I really, really do. But my God, they had a tough year. I know their coach Kenny Atkinson, had a very good time putting this team together and managing this team. But at the same time, they gotta find their postseason genes because they just don't have them.
No, they don't. That's why the Pacers just outplayed them.
And I'll tell you what, I wouldn't be surprised if it's Knicks Pacers in the Eastern Conference Finals. I wouldn't be surprised if the Pacers put up a fight. Now, if it's the Boston Celtics, I think the Pacers could win that series just because the Pacers have a lot more going for them right now
No,
than both the Knicks or Celtics.
Look, Rick Carlisle has really done a fantastic job rebuilding the Pacers back to where they need to be.
He has. He's done a fantastic job.
And I think he's the right coach for them.
And also Tyrese Halliburton has been incredible.
Tyrese is a guy that has just been great in the playoffs. And I kind of think that the Indiana Pacers are they're onto something right here based on what we're saying.
If we have a Timberwolves Pacers NBA Finals,
I would play that in my 2K league for sure.
Yeah, it's something that you want to play in your 2K league, but it's also something that's like it's a battle of potential. Because
those are young teams that are going to be the future of the NBA or something like that. But
of course,
I would want to see the Pacers play the Knicks. I'm with you on that. I just think I want to see New York close it out on Friday at the Garden. Because I know that Garden is going to go crazy. I want the Knicks to make Stephen A. Smith happy because Stephen A. Smith, if you've seen his videos lately, he's like, go New York, go New York, go.
Oh, he's loving it. He's loving it.
And the Knicks, every people are saying, oh, they can't beat the Celtics.
Well, they have the golden opportunity on Friday night.
But my mind tells me that Boston's going to do everything they can to get this to a Game 7.
They're going to try. They're going to try.
But is it going to be a likely scenario or an unlikely scenario?
I would say likely, but I think again the Knicks can't shoot themselves in the foot. Their biggest competition in this series is themselves.
Oh yeah, they cannot shoot themselves in that. You know?
Yes.
I feel like Jason. And I know Jason Tatum will be back from this next year.
Yeah, he will. He will.
Because I know that Jason Tatum is I think he's an important piece to them, you know?
100%.
But let's talk baseball for a minute. Last night, the Athletics beat the Dodgers 11-1. I didn't even bother watching the rest of the game because of how awful that was.
Yeah, that was a drumming of the highest order. And also, I think the most important thing I can tell you coming out of that game is the fact that we finally see the Sacramento A's playing competitive baseball.
They are. They can swing. They can swing for the fences.
This is a team that I was really looking forward to seeing. It's such a shame.
They're still not experienced, though.
They're not experienced, but at the same time, they have a lot going for them in the future. And I wouldn't be surprised that we see this Sacramento A's team contend for a playoff spot throughout the course of the season because that's what they've done so far in the first quarter of the year.
The AL West has kind of been wide open. The Houston Astros are still good. I'm not counting them out. Like, if you look at the AL West standings, the Seattle Mariners are up there. The Athletics are up there at second place. The Houston Astros, they're still good. I mean, I don't think they're wearing down by any means.
I mean, you also got to look, too. The Texas Rangers are only a game and a half back.
That's a tough race right there.
That's a really competitive race.
But in my show league, who finished in last place in my show league in the AL West?
Angels.
It was the Angels. Is that a surprise to anybody? They're probably
not at this point, no.
But the Angels are relatively better right now, 17-24. And Mike Trout hurt again is just the nail on the coffin to their season.
It really is. It really is. It's such a shame, man, because you expect so much more, but you're not getting it.
No, Angel fans they're not happy.
Nope. I wouldn't be happy either.
If you look at the AL West, I was gonna ask you about the Houston Astros. I mean, a lot of people saying I don't think the Houston Astros are old. I'm not counting them out. I think they still have a lot of talented players, but I think that they're probably not going to end up getting a wild card spot. They're probably going to just
miss out. Yeah,
Just miss out. But they are going to be in it.
I think the Astros are. I think their glory days are kind of behind them now because I've seen this Astro team play really well, but they've lost Kyle Tucker and they've lost a lot of really good players. They lost Bregman, Altuve. They almost let go of. So I think the Astros right now. I think you're gonna have a backtrack year with them. I think that they're not gonna make it.
Oh, we just have an update for you. The Dodger Andy Pajes just hit a solo home run, and the Dodgers are now up 2-0 over
Mm.
the A's. But I mean, what I saw from the A's yesterday, I mean, I like their young players. I like Jacob Wilson. I like guys like Shea Langoliers, and their pitching is pretty good. But I like Mason Miller too. He's like my favorite pitcher on the A's, Mason Miller.
Yeah, that's their closer.
He's so good,
He is. He's very solid.
and in the A and. But I think this AL West is so good. But in my show that you're not surprised about the Texas Rangers winning it.
I mean, the Texas Rangers could be really good. I wasn't surprised at all. I mean, like between the Astros and the A's and the Mariners and the Rangers, it's such a close race at this point in the year.
It is, but I think the Seattle Mariners. I like what they're. I think offensively they were awful last year. I think this year their offense has been much better.
Yes, they have. I think Cal Raleigh and Randy Rosarena and Julio Rodriguez are the contributing factors as to why their offense has taken a step forward. I still think that they're a little rough around the edges offensively, but I still think that they have a lot of.
It's the Cal Raleigh show, the J Rod show, and the Randy show in Seattle.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I like this Mariners team. They're fun. They're a fun group.
They're fun. They're a fun group. I want to see them win the division because they really put together a solid foundation. You want to see them put the finishing touches on a division title, and they almost did last year, but then they collapsed.
Let me tell you, baseball's biggest disappointment so far. It's the Baltimore Orioles with a 15-26 record. Here's the thing with the Orioles. I like their lineup with Gunnar and Adley Rutschman. That's what I like about the Orioles. But I am not too pleased with their pitching right now. Their starting pitching's a mess.
Yeah, that honestly, I thought losing Santander was the issue for the Orioles, but it
It's
turned
not,
out.
though. It's not losing Santander. Losing Santander was not the issue for the O's.
Yeah, it's kind of amazing. Like their pitching staff is one of the worst in baseball. Their
But
ERA.
they still have a good bullpen with Felix Bautista as their closer.
Yeah, but you got to get to Bautista with a lead, and they can't do that. They're either going to get blown out or they're going to give up a lead with their other relievers besides Bautista. So right now, Baltimore is not in a good position right now. They're in last place in the AL East, man.
Oh my gosh. Behind the Rays, you gotta be kidding me.
Shocking.
Like the Rays, I thought they were gonna be in last place. They were gonna be a good last place team that was just gonna have a good record because this AL East is so good. The Yankees, they're hanging in there without Garrett Cole. The Toronto Blue Jays are much better this year.
I mean, you got to give credit to the Blue Jays. I think that's a team that you thought was dead and buried, but after they signed Vlad Guerrero Jr., they've really picked it up.
And then the Boston Red Sox. I still think they're going to be a playoff team, even though they're 22-23.
That's a sneaky team as well. I mean, you look at this American League. There's so many good teams coming out of that conference that you can kind of expect that it could be anyone's day at any given time.
Well, with the Orioles, a lot of people are saying Brandon Hyde's on the hot seat. Do you think Brandon Hyde's on the hot seat?
I mean, we were praising this man last year, the last couple of years. It's kind of amazing how quick things change in baseball after one bad year, one bad quarter of a year. But Brandon Hyde and this Orioles team have just really disappointed a lot of people in baseball, and you're kind of surprised about how bad they've been.
Let's talk about the Minnesota Twins. They won 10 in a row. I mean, what could you say about the Rocco Baldelli firing rumors?
I mean, I think if the Minnesota Twins put this to bed and they make the playoffs, I think the Rocco Baldelli firing rumors are going to be put to bed at that point because, I mean, this is a team that's been so good. I mean, their ERA
like
is
last
one of the
year,
best.
they had a huge collapse.
Yeah, last year they collapsed when trying to get that last playoff spot. But look at their ERA. Their ERA is top 5 in baseball. This is a really good pitching staff. And while their batting average as a team is not amazing, it's still productive to the point. Like, obviously, like Castro is 221, Bride is 286. Like, you don't see a lot of great batting average numbers, but they get timely hitting at the right time.
You're right. We talk about timely hitting a lot in this for the Twins, but the White Sox, no need to talk about them. They're 14-29, looking like they're a little bit better than they were last year. What are your thoughts on these? What are your thoughts on the Chicago White Sox right now? Because
I
a lot of people are saying, I thought people are predicting the Chicago White Sox are going to lose 140 games, but they're 14-29.
I mean, I'll tell you this. Like, I agree with you. They got better from last year.
A little bit, but I still think they're still a laughing stock in baseball.
Hey, listen, there's one other team that's worse than them, and you know where I'm going with this.
Oh yeah, we got to talk about that in a minute.
But to me, Chicago is a team that's going to get better little by little, it seems. I mean, at this time last year, they only had 10 wins. Now they're at 14 wins. So they improved, and I commend them for improving. But they still have a long way to go, and they're not at the point where they can be competitive yet.
No, they're not there yet because their roster's not yet good. They got a young pitching staff. Like, I've seen that their starting rotation's been very good at home, but if they play teams like the Dodgers or the Mets or the Yankees, they get exposed.
Yeah, and like this is something again, like you feel comfortable playing at home, but at the same time, if you can't play well on the road, that just tells me that you're not ready.
From one Chicago team to another, the Cubbies, they've walked off the Marlins twice.
First off, Chicago, I think they're already planning on whether or not they're going to sign Kyle Tucker to an extension soon, because this is a guy that has really turned the switch for this ball club. And also, Pete Crow Armstrong has done a really good season as well as Seiya Suzuki.
Oh yeah, Seiya's had a very good season, but I also think that there's a lot of rumors about Kyle Tucker joining the Dodgers next year. Do you really think the Dodgers are going to still pursue him?
I mean, this is kind of the same conversation we had with Juan Soto when he was rumored to go to the Dodgers or even the Mets. I think you're enjoying the experience right now with Kyle Tucker. See where this gets you. If you win a division title and maybe win the wild card series, because I think the Cubs will be the third best division champion in the National League this year. Either way, if you get far with Kyle Tucker, then you plan on whether or not you're going to sign him. I think right now Kyle Tucker's earned an extension, and to me, I think that Kyle Tucker is what's turning this Cubs fortunes around.
Well, I'll tell you, there's another player that made his major league debut that could potentially take over his spot in the lineup if Kyle Tucker goes to the Dodgers, because because the Cubs are very loaded with prospects.
They are.
You know how they were loaded with PCA? I love PCA. PCA is unreal.
He is. That's a guy that has really opened a lot of people's eyes when he came onto the major league scene, and he's fit in like a glove for Chicago.
Oh yeah, that's it. He's got a great glove in center field. Like he's a dude that just basically ignited this fan base in the North Side.
Right.
But I'm going to tell you this name right here that made his major league debut yesterday from Venezuela. Like, assuming like there's a scenario where what if Kyle Tucker doesn't stay and goes to the Dodgers? Moises Ballesteros made it. The 21-year-old made his major league debut yesterday. The Cubs are also very high on him.
That's good. That's good. Hey, listen, if you're loaded with prospects, that's actually good than having a lot of high-profile contracts on your team, because then you can homegrown these guys and they can fit into your ball club.
So that's why I'm thinking, do you think Kyle Tucker goes to the Dodgers this offseason? Because I have a feeling that the Dodgers are going to have a lot of money to get him here. And I have a pretty good feeling that we might land him, because I just don't think Michael Conforto has really turned out great so far.
No, you're definitely right about Michael Conforto. He hasn't been what
because everybody thought that was a good sneaky pickup for us, but Michael Conforto has really struggled mightily.
Yeah, no, Michael Conforto has underperformed so far this year. I mean, listen, I get it. You want to upgrade in your outfield a little bit. I understand that. But as far as Kyle Tucker joining the joining the Dodgers. We're a quarter of the way through the season. It's too soon to tell. We just need to see how the rest of the season shakes out, and then we'll probably get a bigger assumption there.
Yeah, let's see how the rest of the season goes. But anyways, talking about a, a move that was unnecessary for the Colorado Rockies in giving Bud Black the boot after losing to the Padres 21-0, and then the next day you beat them 8-3. That Rockies front office is just abysmal.
First off, I just got to tell you right now, I mean, this was a long time coming. We knew the Rockies were going to fire Bud Black at some point. But my God, 21-0 at home.
And right now,
opponent.
The Colorado Rockies are losing 8-3 to the Texas Rangers. And what's new about that?
Nothing's new about that. I mean, listen, Colorado is a team that fell off the map so quickly. I'll never forget they won the 2018 wildcard game in Chicago against the Cubs, and everybody thought, oh my God, this team might have something going, and then they just crash landed after that.
My thoughts on this, every offseason when we talk about free agency, the Colorado Rockies are not an attractive destination for free agents.
I'll tell you right now, I think Dick Monfort better sell the team.
Yeah, I said something about not being an attractive destination for free agents, the Colorado Rockies. They're going to be cheap. But the Monfort brothers, the way they're operating, it's not good.
No, it's very disgraceful to see this team so lifeless and so stuck in the mud. Like, you feel like they're going to go somewhere, but they never do anything.
They're like, let me tell you right now, they're not as good as the Dodgers, the Padres, the Giants, and the Diamondbacks.
Yeah, just bad. Like, you have 4 juggernaut teams in your division. Okay, that's fine, but at least show some life. Like, be like the Tampa Bay Rays and actually show some life. You got nothing.
I'm looking at the Rockies games right now. I mean, they basically got swept by the Detroit Tigers. That's expected.
Yeah.
And then you lose 2 out of 3 to San Diego, which is expected, but winning that May 11th game was just doesn't really matter to them for winning that game.
No, it was a pointless game to win at that point because at that point you fired Bud Black. What more could you have done?
And then right now the Colorado Rockies are not showing. They're basically lifeless in Texas.
Just disgraceful. Just disgraceful.
And then they're going to play the Arizona Diamondbacks this weekend. And I'm like, there you go again. There you go again with the Rockies getting swept. I'm looking at their schedule right now. They're playing the Phillies this next week. And then your New York Yankees get to play them in Colorado. And I'm like, that's gonna be 2 sweeps right there.
I'll tell you right now, I'm looking at the Colorado Rockies. DJ LeMahieu may have been the smartest man in baseball. You want to know why? Because he got the hell out of there.
He did. And I'm looking at right now, we have the Tyler Soderstrom just tied the game with a home run. And I'm like, this A's team can't give up.
No, listen, this A's team, you got to give them a lot of credit because this team just does not lie down against whoever they play. They're competitive, and I love it.
Everybody in the past would say, oh, get Mark Kotsay out of there.
Nope, not this time.
Now I think Mark Kotsay is the right manager for the A's.
I mean, listen, Tyler Soderstrom, Shane Langoliers, their closer.
Oh, I like Lawrence Butler, too. That guy.
Lawrence Butler's good. They also have Miguel Andujar.
Oh, former Yankee. That's an ex-Yankee for you. And he's resetting himself there. And also, Sevy is resetting himself there.
Luis Severino is over there. Andujar is doing good as a contributor. I mean, this A's team doesn't have a lot of all-stars, but they have a lot of good contributing players.
They're probably going to miss the playoffs, like I'm saying.
They'll probably just miss the cut.
But things are getting better for them.
Yeah, and you love to see that because this is an A's team that was a laughingstock once upon a time, but now they're in a new city, and I guess things have changed.
Yeah, I'm looking at the Rockies schedule. They're playing the Phillies for a 4-game series. and they're probably going to get swept out of the water. And then the
Yeah.
Yankees, goodbye.
Sayonara.
So basically, the Colorado Rockies are probably going to be on track to lose. I'm going to go with 130 games for you.
130, my God.
I'm exaggerating here. I'm being honest.
No, I think you actually might be onto something because 130 losses is not out of the question for this Colorado
They're going to
Rockies
be like
team.
the White Sox from last year. From this, they're
Well,
like the White Sox from
this
this
team is
year.
worse than the White Sox from last year. Worse.
The White Sox can even beat them.
Like the 2024 White Sox could beat this team.
Oh, absolutely. So the next time I see the Dodgers play the Rockies is not till late June, and that's at Coors Field. And I know that the Rockies would give us high-scoring games like that, but with a team like this, I don't see it. Even though Coors Field's a good hitter's park, the Rockies are not going to be hitting the ball.
It's such a shame because Coors Field is a really good ballpark, but the team just can't put up a good product.
No, yeah, they can't. I mean, the Dodgers always beat them. They always win the series with them every single year.
Yeah.
And I have and firing Bud Black was just, I felt like that Bud Black basically got scapegoated out of there.
Yeah, I remember you and I were talking on Mother's Day about this. We both said that, Bud Black, it was
You sent me that article and I laughed at it.
Yeah, I remember you did. You did.
About this is how they operate. And I'm like, no one wants to go there. No one wants to take that managerial job when that becomes open next year. The Rockies are going to be stuck forever.
Yeah, I don't think there's any saving them at this point. I really don't think so.
No one's going to save that franchise, Although in the city of Denver, you got the Broncos, the Nuggets going for you. But the Rockies, fans are just going to want to boycott their games.
Yeah. And
here's what I think what they should do.
Go.
Sell out that stadium and do the sell the team chance to the Montfort brothers.
It's funny because that's what the A's fans did, and then they wanted Sacramento, and then they wanted the A's to stay in Oakland, and now here we are. They're in Sacramento, and they're playing really well.
So that's what I'm thinking. This reverse boycott.
Yeah, a reverse boycott. Probably what this team needs.
I think they need a reverse boycott so that there could be fans that could sell out Coors Field and make their voices heard about this ownership.
Yeah, it's disgraceful.
So firing Bud Black was not really a GM decision.
No, it was a executive decision. That was what it was.
It was not Bill Schmidt's choice to do that. I didn't think Bill Schmidt wanted to fire him.
Yeah, because I remember you told me that Bill Schmidt, the general manager of the Rockies, loved Bud Black. And
he loves him.
That they'd at least finish the season together.
Buddies.
Yeah.
He loves Bud Black to death, and they've been buddies for a long time. And I'm like, that's not a Bill Schmidt decision.
Yeah. Best case scenario, this team was going to make it through the rest of the season with him. But now it was just, I guess, enough was enough.
Yeah, I think the Montforts just had enough of it.
Yeah.
So this was to me a Dick Montfort move.
Yes.
And his brother who played a part in the decision. And for Bud Black, if I were him, he's probably happy he's out of there.
Honestly, I think he's relieved.
And I feel like Dave Roberts should reach out to him and get him on the Dodgers and work with him there.
I mean, listen, whatever Bud Black could do to get a job in Major League Baseball. I mean, this is a guy who's not totally useless. He has value.
Bud Black is a respectable man. Like, he has value to any clubhouse.
Yes, and I feel like teams should take advantage of this because Bud Black knows how to put together a team. Colorado is just not the right situation.
No. Who takes over that job in Colorado, does any managerial candidate this offseason want to go there?
I don't think so.
Like, whoever gets this job, it's going to be a puppet that's going to take this job.
Pretty much.
It's going to be whoever whoever whatchamacallit, whoever lands this managerial job, they're gonna not want it.
Yeah, no, I think you hit the nail on the head. I think that this job is not attractive. It's not appealing. And I don't think people want it because the roster's so bad and Chris Bryant has been literally taken hostage. And I don't know if anyone wants this job.
From one team that's looking for a manager next year to another. I mean, they already got their managerial vacancy somewhat filled with Don Kelly. I mean, the Pittsburgh Pirates have been a disaster this year.
And this is a different scenario because unlike Colorado, at least Pittsburgh has a solid foundation. They have Paul Skeens. They have Andrew McCutchen. They have O'Neill Cruz. They have Brian Reynolds. But no, this team's just terrible. Terribly managed, terribly run. PNC Park is beautiful.
Absolutely. I would want to go to that ballpark and watch a baseball game there.
I want to go to PNC Park to watch a baseball game, but the team's just so poor. I don't know if I want to waste my money going to their games.
I would go if the Dodgers play there. That's the only time I would want to go to PNC Park.
That's fine.
Because I want to see a game. I want to experience seeing a ballpark, going to a ballpark like that. PNC Park is a beautiful ballpark. I like the rendering of this ballpark.
It's such a nicely constructed ballpark, but such a shame the team's terrible.
It's their owner that fired Derek Shelton.
Bob Nutting.
Derek Shelton being fired was unnecessary as well.
And just like in Colorado, I remember I was watching the Yankees play in Pittsburgh earlier this season, and there were chants from Pirates fans, sell the team. So the writing's already on the wall.
Oh, yeah, the Pittsburgh Pirates. Well, if I want to go to a Pirates game, I just want to see Paul Skeens.
At this point.
I want to see Paul Skeens go on the mound and see him pitch because he's fun. He is doing everything that he can to get the Pittsburgh Pirates to be successful. But the offense has to give him run support, and they don't.
They never get him run support. Never.
Because with ace pitchers, you got to give them run support. If he if he goes to the Dodgers, he's going to get plenty of run support.
Absolutely.
He's going to get a lot of run support too, and he'll win you a lot of games there if he's a Dodger.
Yeah,
but realistically, I don't think the Dodgers will trade for Paul Skeens because
they're not going to trade for Paul Skeens. They're not,
because Paul Skeens is going to be a hefty price to get him. But I just don't think the Dodgers like to give up top prospects for that. You know?
No, they really shouldn't.
They like to wait for free agents, which is kind of their approach.
Which I understand, but Bob Nutting can't be cheap. They can't.
He's always cheap. He's always cheap with certain players. He's not cheap with O'Neill Cruz or Paul Skeens. He better not be cheap with Paul Skeens.
Oh, if he's cheap with Paul Skeens, you can bet he's going to want out.
Oh, Paul Skeens would probably want out of there in a few years or so.
By 2028, if this is not a competitive baseball team, all their big players are going to be gone.
Oh, yeah, that's probably going to be this Pittsburgh Pirates team. The reason why I like watching Pirates games on my TV is because of PNC Park.
Yeah.
Because I always look forward to when the Dodgers go there every year and watching the Dodgers play there. It's a fun ballpark. I like seeing the view of the Allegheny River, the Roberto Clemente Bridge. That's what I like about PNC Park.
Yeah. No, it's a great architecturally structured building, and it's such a shame that Pirate fans are wasting their money to go to these games because the team's not good and they're not doing the proper thing, which is putting up a good product. And again, Bob Nutting is cheap. The team's terrible. They can't get fans to come in. Fans are chanting sell the team. It's a mess.
That's what I don't like about some baseball teams that are a mess like that. The Pittsburgh Pirates are just a dysfunctional organization. They're a disgrace. I mean, the Dodgers just beat them. I mean, the Dodgers took 2 out of 3 for them. That tells me something. The Pirates are bad. The Dodgers have better pitching than they do.
Yeah, 100%.
And then talk about the St. Louis Cardinals. They're 24-20. You and I both ripped on them in the first month and a half this season.
We did.
And they're now 24-20. And basically, they're trying to save Ollie Marmol.
They're a game back of a wild card right now. I mean, we don't have a decent sample size yet, but it's good to see them play competitive baseball.
I like the young core of the St. Louis Cardinals. I mean, Mason Wynn, Victor Scott, Brendan Donovan, Lars Nootbaar, Matthew Liberatore is becoming an ace. The St. Louis Cardinals, I thought they were going to be like last year where they started out so bad and they were going to fire Ollie Marmol. But it looks like the transition in the front office is taking place with John Mozeliak retiring and then Chaim Bloom going to take over.
Yeah, no. I mean, St. Louis has got something going. They got the momentum. They're winning ball games. But the thing with St. Louis is they play in a really difficult conference in the National League, and I don't think they can get past Philly. I mean, they took 1 of 2 from Philly today, but as far as like passing them as a whole, that's gonna be difficult.
Yeah, and Nolan Arenado, everybody thinks he's going to get traded. I don't think he's going to get traded at this point.
I mean, listen, Nolan Arenado was going to be trade bait for a lot of teams, but at the end of the day, he decided to stay in St. Louis. And he's doing well. The Cardinals are pushing for the playoffs. I mean, we'll see what happens, but so far, I'm liking where this Cardinals team is going.
I am too. I think this is a good direction right there. But the Brewers, 21-23. I mean, don't count out the Milwaukee Brewers just yet.
I'm not going to count them out, but I will say that Chicago might run away with that division like in a hurry because I think that Milwaukee is inconsistent. Jackson Chourio has up and down games, and other than Jackson Chourio, we haven't really seen a lot of star power.
Miguel Andujar just hit a double, and it's a 3-2 bowl game in LA. And the A's are really making Yamamoto work right now.
Wow.
And I'm like, how in the heck are they doing this? Yamamoto should quiet down this offense, but they're not.
There's Miguel Andujar for you.
That's Miguel Andujar, the ex-Yankee right there. But the Brewers, don't count them out yet. The Reds, they're 20-24. I mean, that's a team we got to be patient with.
Yeah. I think at this point, we're going to pump the brakes on our optimism for them and actually just give them a chance to develop.
Yeah, you and I both were just overhyped. We were overhyping them a lot because of the Terry Francona thing and all that.
Yeah, we got too excited.
We got too excited for nothing with the Reds, but I still like Elly De La Cruz. I have a prediction that I think he's going to be a starting shortstop in the All-Star game. I would like to see that because he's so fun.
He's just a perfect combination of power and speed.
Oh yeah, I remember one of his first games against the Dodgers, and I'm like, where did that kid come from when I first saw him? That guy is so good with power, good with speed, a good switch hitter.
He's the complete package. That's what he is.
I feel like he excites Reds fans.
Yeah, and I think that's what's great. Like, you give Reds fans some energy. Having said that, though, you still need to win games.
Every time I watch film of his home runs, the Reds play-by-play announcer, John Sadak, God, he's so enthusiastic when he hits a home run.
I love his enthusiasm. I love it.
Do you hear that? John Sadak gets so enthusiastic when Elly De La Cruz does this, does that.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
And he's like, God, grand slam. That's John Sadak right there. He's got excitement in him.
I love it.
When it comes to and sometimes the Reds are the rally Reds.
And I like that. This Cincinnati team has an identity. And that's what's good. They finally
do, because last year David Bell was clueless with what he was doing.
No, he had no clue at all how to run this team.
He had no idea to run this team, but I just think Terry Francona is just a better option for them at this point.
100%.
And I like Terry Francona. And I told you that in my show league next year. I have the Dodgers starting in Cincinnati with the Reds because of the Roberts and Francona thing.
Yes.
And for a minute, let's talk about the Atlanta Braves. They're going to get Ronald Acuna back. The Braves are 21-22, 6.5 back of the NL East leading New York Mets, and also the second place Philadelphia Phillies. When Ronald Acuna Jr. comes back, does this change things for the Atlanta Braves?
It should. I think what happened was Ronald Acuna Jr.'s injuries and attitude were terrible. And I think that now he's going to start on a clean slate once again. And I hope that he's cleaned up everything because I don't like his attitude the way he started the season. And I honestly believe that if he changes his emotional approach, the Braves will be a good team.
The Braves in my show league, they finished with a good record, but they just missed out on the playoffs because the Mets and the Phillies both made it.
Right.
And how on earth the New York Mets are in first place? Is it because Grimace has brought them luck?
Well, let me just tell you all right now, they're doing well, and Juan Soto is not the reason why.
Oh, that's right.
Juan Soto is not the reason why. If anything, Francisco Lindor and Pete Alonso have done a lot of the work for the Mets so far this season.
I'll be right back.
Okay.
Sorry.
So far the Mets, like, if you look at them, like Juan Soto's batting below 250. He's not really batting incredibly well. And honestly, the Mets, they should be happy that they brought Pete Alonso back because this team wouldn't be where it is right now without him. And I know Francisco Lindor is doing great. Juan Soto could be doing a lot better. But so far, first year of this 15-year contract, and he's been very, very underwhelming to say the least. You look at this Mets team, they got a big series coming up because they do got to play the Yankees in New York. They got to come to the Bronx to play the Yankees in what should be a return game for Juan Soto. I can only imagine what Yankee fans are going to treat Juan Soto like on Friday's game.
Glad you brought that up. I'm kind of thinking the same thing about what Yankee Stadium will look like when Juan Soto returns to the Bronx.
That team, well, I'll tell you what, Juan Soto better be ready to hear a chorus of boos on Friday.
Why?
Because this is the team, this is a fan base that embraced him, and he left them high and dry for money.
And then you also talk about, so you're saying Juan Soto is not the reason why the Mets are off to this amazing start. Is it? It's basically the Lindor and Alonso show.
Correct.
And you also forgot to leave out Kodai Senga's done a great job carrying the rotation since he's fully healthy.
I mean, the rotation for the Mets has been okay, but I think that, well, they're the best rotation in the National League. But to me, the Mets' best performances come from Francisco Lindor, Pete Alonso, and actually Clay Holmes has actually had a pretty decent year as a starting pitcher.
But he gets rocked too.
He does.
But I'm also want to point out here with the Mets is that their bullpen is still a question mark, except for Edwin Diaz. Edwin Diaz seems to have a bounce back year, though.
Yeah, he does. He's actually been one of the better closers in baseball over so far this year.
Yeah, Narco's back, I'll tell you.
Uh-huh.
I mean, that's why I would want to go see the Mets play at Citi Field because of Narco and Edwin Diaz. And, like, my opinion on Juan Soto, I still like him. I still think he is a premier hitter in baseball. He's probably going to end up with 20 or 30 home runs this year.
Absolutely.
But you're saying is that Juan Soto is just off to a horrid start.
Yeah, he's below par. I'll put it that way. He's below par so far this season.
But the home run rate is where it needs to be for him.
So far, yeah, so far.
But why are you thinking that Juan Soto could do better than he is right now?
Well, I think he's just being a little bit too aggressive at home plate. I think at the plate he's been a little bit too aggressive. His outfield defense has been atrocious.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
His outfield defense has been atrocious.
Like, he gets lost with where the ball is.
Yeah, that honestly is not a good sign. Like, you're paying $765 million for a guy who could hit well, but that's it.
Yeah, you're not paying him to play defense. That's the problem.
Well, you're paying him to play defense. You're paying him to do his job, but he's doing okay hitting the ball, but defensively he's been disastrous.
Oh yeah, I mean, I don't see the Dodgers don't play the Mets till the end of this month, and I'm like, will that be a game where I think the Dodgers need to take advantage of his blunders? Because if Juan Soto can't really make those diving catches, I'm thinking that the Dodgers are probably going to put up a lot of runs on the New York Mets.
I think when the Mets and Dodgers face off, I think it might be a bloodbath because the Mets are good, but they face a lot of bad teams.
Why do you say the Mets are good when they play against bad teams like the Pirates or the Rockies or the
No,
White
I'm
Sox?
I'm saying they're good, but they've started the season playing a bunch of bad teams. Like they've played Pittsburgh, they've played St. Louis, they've played Philly. Like they're playing teams that are mediocre or bad. They haven't had a true test.
Do you think everybody is questioning the Phillies like about their championship window? Do you think it's closing or no?
Slowly. It's slowly closing. And the reason why is because the Mets have passed them by, the Dodgers have passed them by, the Cubs have passed them by. The Phillies are no longer a threat to win the National League anymore. They're a contender, but they're not a true contender.
I asked that because Kyle Schwarber's a free agent. Nick Castellanos is under contract for one more year. I don't know what they're going to do with JT Realmuto because I think this Phillies team can still be good, but they got a lot of good prospects coming up that could really help fill those gaps.
They do, but there's going to be one constant over the next several years on Philadelphia, and that's Bryce Harper.
I think Bryce Harper is still the man there.
Yeah.
So and Trey Turner too. I still think those are the two guys that you build around. But are you saying that the Philadelphia Phillies are probably going to have a losing record by next year, or they're not?
I think by the All-Star break they'll have a losing record, and I think that they'll fall just short of making the playoffs.
When? By next year, you think?
No, this year.
Well, because next year they might have a different looking roster, still, but around Bryce Harper and Trey Turner.
Right.
And a lot of people are questioning, is Rob Thompson on the hot seat too?
That's a good question because I thought Rob Thompson's done a really good job managing this team. But if things aren't working, then you're going to have to part ways.
Well, the Phillies right now are 25-18. They've been 6-4 in their last 10 games. But in my show league, you know what their playoff result was?
Ousted in the wild card.
Lost to the Chicago Cubs in 5 games of the NLDS.
Right.
Because that was the fate on their season, and a lot of people are like, is it for the Phillies to be true contenders? I don't think they are that.
They're not. They're not as good as they used to be.
They're not true contenders by any means, but I still think they have the talent to still compete in a division like the NL East.
Mm-hmm.
Like I still think the talent's there, but they're just not a real World Series threat to anybody.
I agree with you 100%.
I think I like their lineup. I like their starting pitching, but their bullpen is just problematic.
Oh, their bullpen has been Jordan Romano specifically has a 13 ERA.
No, I think who's also worse at times is Jose Alvarado. Oh my God.
Yeah.
That guy can't seem to stay consistent.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of my other point about the Philadelphia Phillies is their bullpen is just atrocious. They're not consistent.
Agreed.
Like, let me give you an example. The Philadelphia Phillies could start off the game with scoring 3 runs. They're up 3-0 over. I'm gonna give you a scenario about which team are they up. I'm gonna say the Mets. They're up 3-0 over the Mets, and then they'll blow it. Typical Phillies bullpen.
Mm-hmm.
And then if they play the Dodgers, let's say they go up 2-0 by the top of the 9th. What will the Phillies bullpen do? Rob Thompson will choose a guy that will cost them the game.
Yeah, not Rob Thompson. I get what you're saying about the decision making that Rob Thompson has made with his bullpen, but at the same time, it's like this team is still competitive, and this team can win ball games.
Yeah, I think the Phillies by next year, they're still going to be a competitive team, but their title window will probably be closed by then.
Probably.
That's what my view on the Phillies is. The Braves will get there when they get Acuna fully healthy. But the Washington Nationals, a lot of people are speculating, is this it for Davey Martinez? And I'm like, Mo, no, it's not really his fault.
I mean, being a world champion, you want to follow through on your expectations from 2019, and they really haven't gotten back to where they were supposed to.
Oh, they're still not good. With the Washington Nationals, I like C.J. Abrams. I like this young core that they have, but they're still in a rebuild. They're still not ready.
Yeah, it's going to take them a while to get to where they need to be.
Oh, yeah, but maybe I feel like the Nationals might move on from Davey Martinez, probably move in a different direction next year, which I could see.
Right.
And then the Miami Marlins. What could I say about that team? I mean, Kim Nang had a playoff roster once upon a time.
And they fired her.
But now she got fired because different viewpoints from her and the ownership, Bruce Sherman. But the Miami Marlins they're just another team that's just dysfunctional.
Bad. Just a bad organization.
So, and Peter Bendix, I don't think he's that good of an executive. I never liked him from the get-go.
Yeah.
Because he comes from a system in Tampa Bay where you build homegrown talent and build up your farm system. But in Miami, I don't think there's no identity there.
No whatsoever.
The ballpark is so nice.
It is a very nice ballpark.
Lone Depot Park is a great ballpark, but at the same time, it's just nobody shows up to those games.
Yeah, it's disastrous. It's horrible to see that.
It's very like the Miami Marlins don't have anything going on. But let's talk about college football before we end this. I mean, do you think Bill Belichick's girlfriend's going to be a distraction for him throughout the season?
And so this is a topic that I'm actually kind of glad you brought up because I've heard about Bill Belichick's girlfriend being a potential distraction, and apparently she's the reason why North Carolina might pull Bill Belichick's contract out from underneath him, and he might not even coach in North Carolina. I don't know what Bill Belichick has to do. He might have to dump her, but I think it could be a distraction if things continue the way they're going.
No, are you thinking Bill Belichick? You're saying that Bill Belichick might not coach this fall?
If things aren't taken care of between him and his girlfriend, no.
No, do you think he will coach this fall?
I think he should. I think he will, but I think his girlfriend might have to take a loop out here because I don't know if she's gonna be around. Because Bill wants to protect his reputation, and he's willing to do anything it takes to get a head coaching job.
No, I think I'm kind of excited about Bill Belichick seeing Bill Belichick back to coaching because
I agree. Yeah, no, I'm with you.
I really want to I want to watch some of his North Carolina games because he might have some NFL talent for my Patriots.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that he's gonna do a great job with these kids, make North Carolina football relevant again. But the whole thing about his girlfriend and you got to stop that.
It's noise, and you can't have noise.
And Bill Belichick right now has noise.
Yeah, and he can't afford it.
Yeah, so do you think he can take care of that?
I think he can because I think he wants this head coaching job so badly, and I don't think he wants anything to get in the way of it.
But anyways, that's going to do it. But good night, everyone.
Good night, everybody.
Well, Matt, I'm kind of excited in my show league that I'm going to be playing this World Series rematch with the Dodgers and Yankees. But when I get mad